Have you guys noticed that the Xfinity series fucking sucks dick? Like, seriously, it's horrendous. Like, every time that I watch this, I regret not doing something with my life on Saturdays. Like, to think I could be doing something productive, or like, learning something new, instead of just sitting here and accepting the fact that Cup drivers are destroying this series. They really are. Like, seriously. I love how NASCAR loves to market the Xfinity series as names are made here. No, they aren't. No, they fucking aren't. Whose name was made in this series? Huh? Last 2 years, I'd say Chase Elliott and maybe Eric Jones. Oh, good job. That's a lot of names. Whew. This series is churning out superstars. I will tell you that much. I mean, for fuck's sake. In 2013, the series champion did not win a single race. Austin Dillon won the 2013 NASCAR Nationwide then Series Championship and did not win a single race. What the fuck does that matter? You know? He's come into the Sprint Cup Series and done jack shit. He was not at all prepared for the Sprint Cup Series. You know, racing against those Cup guys every week sure helped him. I mean, he's only started to show progress this year. I wouldn't even count last year. He had a couple of good runs, but it was mostly qualifying, and something stupid would happen in the middle of the race that would cause him to go ballistic and the fucking car exploding. It happened a couple of times, actually. It hasn't even shown any progress until 2 years after that Nationwide Series Championship. Oh, good job. Sprint Cup drivers need to get the fuck out. There is no reason that there should be any Cup drivers who have established themselves in the Xfinity series anymore. There's nothing for them to gain. There's literally no reason for this shit. They spend week in and week out just beating the shit out of these little poor defenseless children. Week in and week out, and we're just supposed to sit back and accept it. It's like, yep, nothing's wrong here. Everything is great. Wow, I am blown away by this. This series is fantastic. Get the Cup drivers the fuck out. And I know exactly what people are going to say. Oh, but Kamikaze, if there weren't any Sprint Cup drivers, then there'd be no sponsors for the little guys. Bull fucking shit! Have you seen Ryan Sieg earning sponsors, Uncle Tom's Garage or whatever? Have you seen even guys like Corbin Forrester who got tilted kilt on him? You have to show that you are worth it. Of course no one's going to sponsor these guys. They have no prestige because they have no wins because Cup guys win every fucking race. Every fucking race. Say it with me now. Every fucking race. Of course no one's going to want to sponsor them because there's no value in that. There is no market value to guys who can't win. Why would a sponsor want to put their name on a driver that can't win? The only way that they can win is if you get these Cup drivers the fuck out. And I know something else that people are going to say. Well, if you want the regulars to win, then how about they step up their game? Oh, what about that, Kamikaze? Well, let me tell you. The only way that you can step up the game in this fucking series, if you even been paying attention, do you even know how racing works? You need to earn money to improve your things. And you can't earn money until you start winning races, which is something that these guys can't fucking do because the Cup guys keep dominating week in and week fucking out. I can't believe this shit. How do people want these Cup drivers in the Xfinity series? Here's another thing that people always say. Well, if there weren't any Cup guys in it, then no one would watch it. Well, of course no one's gonna fucking watch it. Who wants to watch a series with no winners in it? Who wants to watch a series where none of these guys matter because week in and week out, the Cup drivers are always winning? Why would anyone care about that? Can you tell me that? Why would anyone care about that? Which is exactly why Cup drivers need to get the fuck out. So that these little guys can get sponsors. And before I move on to my next point, if you pay attention to like ratings and you look at the stands in the track, especially for Phoenix, you look at it. You look at how packed that stand is. Packed that stand is for the Xfinity Series race. And you come back and fucking tell me that people are watching for the Sprint Cup fucking drivers. You come the fuck back and tell me that shit. Because they fucking are not. So, let's move on to what I was going to talk about next. So, sponsorship. How are guys going to get sponsorship if they have no prestige? Well, you start by getting the Cup drivers out. And it may remain stagnant for a couple of years. But the biggest thing is that once Cup drivers are out and other drivers start establishing themselves as winners, then sponsors are going to start coming. It's not that fucking hard. You look at the truck series. John Hunter Nemechek, he just flat out outdrove the field at Atlanta, of course, after Christopher Bell was wrecked out, but that's not the point. He outdrove the field at the end of that race. He didn't have a sponsor on that truck. That is how you get sponsors. Prove yourself to be a winner, and sponsors will come to you. You do not need a Cup guy holding up your seat. You need to go out and prove it on your fucking own. You have to do this. You can't sit back and let someone else do it for you. Which is exactly why guys like Jeremy Clements had names on his car over the course of the year so far. And lots of other guys are starting to gain more sponsorship than before. It's not that fucking difficult. Once sponsors see that you can win, they will come to you. So get these Cup drivers the fuck out. I mean, every single race that they win is just another example of why this series is dying. I mean, they're just field fillers. The top 10 of the field, for that matter. They just take funding away from the guys that actually need it. If these Cup drivers weren't in at all, drivers could start getting more points. They would, because Cup drivers taking up that spot in the field, they don't get any points. They just take away points from everyone else. And at that point, that's how these fields get so strung out. That's how the championship always gets strung out. That is how Chase Elliott won the 2014 Xfinity, whatever the fuck it was called back then, championship. Because he had such a big lead because of all those fucking Cup guys that finished in between him and I think Ty Dillon over the course of that season. So once that's out of the way, then these drivers can start proving themselves more and we get a more realistic look at how they are as drivers. It's just a bunch of shit. Get the Cup drivers the fuck out. You see their victory lane celebrations. You see their teams when they jump off the pit wall once the checkered flag waves. They don't give a shit. They expect to win. Their expectation is to win every single week. And speaking of winning every single week, let's touch on the subject of one Kyle Busch. Man, Kyle, every single Xfinity Series race that you win only proves to me more and more how insecure you are about your NASCAR career. You have, I think, 34 Sprint Cup Series victories. That is worth at least a couple of golf claps. That is impressive enough. You are a good racer. I said it. You are 2 thumbs up on the driver's scale. Good job, Kyle Busch. However, the fact that you need to take the most dominant car in the entire field every single week, week in and week out, Kyle Busch is the fastest car in the Xfinity Series field, week in and a week out. Of course he's going to win every single fucking race. Of course he is going to get 70 plus nationwide Xfinity Series wins. Those are absolutely meaningless in the grand scope of the field. Because what it is, because let's start comparing this to other sports out there. You know, and I won't even go as far as stick and ball. All right, let's look at Formula. How about we look at Le Mans or something? You know, how about we look at, let's go to Formula, huh? Wouldn't it be great if Lewis Hamilton went down to Formula E and just destroyed everyone in the field consistently? I mean, it's good for them. I mean, they need the experience against the big guys so that they're, you know, ready to come up to the next series as Lewis Hamilton wins every single race. You know, that's just what they need, you know? They need the extra practice against Cup guys. Because you see how well that's worked out for Austin Dillon, how well it's worked out for Kyle Larson. Yeah, how good it's worked out for Brian Scott and Chris Buescher. You see how well this has panned out for these guys. All that practice against the Cup guys, that sure helped their careers out. Yeah, wow, wow, they are world beater drivers now. Wow. Every single race that Kyle Busch wins in the Xfinity Series only proves to me how insecure he is about his life. I mean, for fuck's sake. It only proves to me that Kyle Busch can only win in the Xfinity Series. He can only win on Saturday. Okay? He can only win on Saturday. And you've seen it so far. He's won 3 straight Xfinity Series races, but he keeps choking every single Sprint Cup race, except for maybe Daytona. Daytona was good for Gibbs. But every other race, he's choked in some way, shape, or form. It's only proven to me that he is a good driver on Saturday, but not a good enough driver on Sundays. And let's talk about his championship quick. Kyle Busch can only win in the Xfinity Series. He can't win in the Sprint Cup Series. He can't win a Sprint Cup championship unless he gets the first 11 races off. You know, this is only proving to me more and more things about how insecure Kyle Busch is about his career. Like when he reaches 200 career wins as a result of all these Xfinity Series races that he dominates every single week. And he's going to have probably still under 40 Sprint Cup Series wins. You know, it's only proving to me how insecure you are, Kyle. And you know what? Let's go back through history. Because I know something else that people are going to tell me. Oh, but kamikaze! Sprint Cup drivers have been racing in the Busch Series for a long, long time. Including your fucking senpai, Mark Martin. He dominated an Xfinity Series too. Well, that was before NASCAR started marketing the Xfinity Series as the future of NASCAR. The future of NASCAR. Names are made here. Oh, these names are so prestigious because they have no wins at all coming into the Sprint Cup Series. Why wouldn't you want to be fans of losers? And the Busch Series was different back then for a lot of reasons. Not only that, but most Cup drivers, until about the mid-2000s, would field their own team in the Busch Series. Michael Waltrip did not field DEI cars in the Xfinity Series. He fielded cars that he built in his garage. He did not drive a full-fledged Cup team in the Xfinity series back in the late 90s. So don't fucking tell me that the same thing was happening back in the era of Bush, which it currently is more so than before, because there's one guy winning every single race. Because I look at an Xfinity Series race, and if I'm looking at it through the lens of a multi-million-dollar sponsorship, I am going to give it to Kyle Busch instead of one of the guys that he's racing against week in and week out. Darrell Wallace Jr. is always complaining about how he can't get sponsors. I wonder fucking why, because he can't win any races when there's a whole bunch of Cup drivers filling the field, filling the top 5, winning week in and week out. And I guess we're just supposed to pretend that this is okay. It's not okay. Do you wonder why, year after year after year, no one is watching NASCAR? Ratings sink every single year. This was the second lowest Daytona 500 ratings in the history of televised Daytona 500s, rivaled only by the first Daytona 500 that was televised flag to flag. Do you wonder why? Do you want to know why? Because every year, there's a new crop of Xfinity Series drivers that make the jump to Sprint Cup Series. The problem is, since Cup drivers dominate week in and week out, they have no wins and they have no prestige. A fan, a common person, looks at these drivers and sees they don't look at top 5s. They don't look at top 10s. They look at the wins column. They see the 0, the goose egg. If by some act of God they actually beat a Cup driver, they see 1 win. What casual person wants to watch a series filled with losers? What casual fan wants to watch a Sprint Cup series full of unproven rookie drivers? Who wants to watch that? I am a die-hard racing fan. And even though the Xfinity series sucks fucking dick, I still watch it. Because I like racing. But casual fans won't. NASCAR is trying to can't fucking talk anymore. It's been 18 minutes. I can't talk at this point. The casual fans do not want to watch races filled with losers. It's not that fucking complicated. So that's what we have to do. We have to get Cup drivers out of the series. Out! Out! Get the fuck out! The door is there. Leave. Unless you're willing to race for someone like Cope Racing, you know? Derek Cope, living off of 1990 Daytona 500 fame, go race for Derek Cope. Go ahead. Go right ahead, guys. Denny, Matt, Kyle, Derek Cope would probably be willing to bring you on board. Go race for Carl Long. Hell, go race for Ryan Sieg Racing. They have to field a starting park just to make ends meet. Due to you taking up the field, Kyle. Due to you. You are almost single-handedly destroying the series. You are like 50% of the reason. All the other Cup drivers are the rest of the 50%, okay? I'm just being honest right now. So that's really it. Let's get the Sprint Cup Series drivers out of there. And I think the quality of racing will improve. Want to know why I think this? Truck Series. Have you seen the Truck Series this year? There have been 2 races. 2 races this year. Those 2 races were better than the entire 2015 Sprint Cup Series season. Like, if it weren't for Darlington, I would say that, absolutely better than the entire 2015 season. Like, if it weren't for Darlington, it would be not as close. Like, if there was no Darlington last year, then by a mile, the Truck Series this year, 2 fucking races, has been better. Even with the fucking caution clock, the quality of racing has been a mile! A fucking league! Okay? Like, if you're in the ocean, the Truck Series is a boat on top of the ocean. And the quality of the Xfinity Series is 700,000 leagues below the Truck Series. It sucks ass compared to the Truck Series. And if you watch the races, you'll completely understand, okay? Daytona, guy like Ryan Truex trying to revive his career, going against a series regular who has established themselves, I think, as a champion. I might be mistaken, but they're a champion caliber driver at least, okay? Johnny Sauter's championship caliber. Racing against one of the established drivers of the series. And Ryan Truex versus Johnny Sauter, and even the guys in the back. There's Parker Kligerman trying to revive his career. There's guys like, I forgot who was all in the mix there. There's guys like Christopher Bell, who came off of a wicked race against Bobby Pierce in the Mud Summer Classic. I'm going to call that for the rest of its existence. Fuck you, Major League Baseball. Christopher Bell up there trying to prove himself against greats like Johnny Sauter. You know, there's so many storylines in there. And they aren't artificially affected by a chase yet. And then you look at the Atlanta race. Guys like Daniel Suarez trying to prove himself. He's from Mexico. He's trying to prove himself as a good driver. You got guys like John Hunter Nemechek. The tragic story of John Nemechek. And the legacy of Front Row Joe, all coming together into John Hunter Nemechek, who is a winner last year, and now a proven racing winner this year. And the quality of racing speaks for itself. Like, you don't even need these storylines. The racing is good enough as it is. You got John West Townley in that series. He started off, holy fucking shit, this guy cannot drive worth ass. And then, suddenly, he's contending for wins week in and week out. The fucking transformation. The Truck Series is so much better than the Xfinity Series. This year, after 2 races, there hasn't been a single full-time Cup driver in the Truck Series once at all this year. No one. Nobody. I'm sorry. The Xfinity Series needs to fucking change. It sucks so fucking much right now. Anyway, yeah, I think that's about all that I got for this. So if you think I missed anything, then be sure to comment it. And, I think that's about it. So, anyway, thank you all so much for watching my Xfinity Series rant. This is just me throwing my hat into the ring and giving my explanation as to why I think the Xfinity Series needs to change before it dies, and that's it. Basically, my points are, if Cup drivers are banned, I didn't even really talk about what my plan was. Originally, my plan was that you can only enter one NASCAR sanctioned event from Friday to Sunday every weekend. Every weekend of racing, you can only enter one NASCAR sanctioned event if you're a NASCAR driver. Then I kind of changed it to, if you are running for Cup points, You cannot run in the Xfinity or Truck Series. If you're running for Xfinity points, you cannot run in the Truck Series. But if you're running for Truck Series or Xfinity Series points, you can race in the Sprint Cup or Xfinity Series. Okay? That's basically what I'm saying. That's basically my plan. So yeah, that's all I got. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. The series fucking sucks dick, and it's gotta change, but it never will because money, money, money. Anyway, yeah, well, thank you all so much for watching, and this has been Comcast Games.